So when my husband and I sat down for premarital counseling, the counselor looked at me across the table and she said these words: Jess, I have never met a woman with a more ultra-realistic view of marriage than you. She meant it as a compliment, I think, but it raises the question this episode lives in. So if you're not wired sunny, okay? If you're the one who sees everything that could go wrong, is hope even for you? Stay with me because the answer changed my life. Okay, first, last week's hope work. Did you draw your loop? Hope is on the one side and grit is on the other, and you name which side was stalled. If you did it, you already know something about yourself that most people really never slow down to learn. If you didn't, pause this for 30 seconds, get a pen, and I'll wait. Yeah, this show does come with a little bit of hope work, but it's worth it, I promise. Okay, so here's what I suspect that some of you may have written down. Maybe not in these words, but my hope isn't stalled, it was never running, or I'm just not a hopeful person. I need you to hear me today because this episode is for you. Somewhere along the way, we decided that hope was just a personality trait, the birthright of the bubbly. People who wake up singing, who say everything happens for a reason while your world is on fire. And if that's not you, if you're the ultra realist or the cost counter or the one who walks into the room and instantly sees 3 ways it could fall apart, then you've quietly concluded that hope is just not a club that you were born into. Maybe you're married to the optimist and you secretly wonder if they're in denial. Maybe you are the optimist, and lately your positivity keeps buckling under the weight of what you were never built to carry. But either way, the question is the same. What is hope actually made of, and do you have to be positive to have it? So last week I told you that hope was a discipline, not a feeling. This week I'm going to take it a step further. Hope is not a temperament. And thank God for that, because I would have been disqualified a long time ago. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about me. I've never been an optimist, ever. The counselor wasn't wrong. I walked into marriage with my eyes wide open, scanning for every way it might not work, because that's how I'm built. I was always the one looking for ways it wouldn't work out. And for years, I thought that wiring meant hope would just never come naturally to me. And I was right, by the way. It doesn't. I have to work for hope. Remember, I'm preaching this season to myself too. So let me tell you who I'm married to. My husband is the other end of the scale. The counselor confirmed it. He gauged way higher on optimism than me, and honestly, he still does. There's sometimes where I look at him like, that's great. But here's what you need to know before you write him off as one of those people who's just naturally sunny because life's been easy. I can't go in and tell you his whole story, but I can tell you some parts of it. 7 knee surgeries before the age of 25. 7. A football scholarship gone. A sport he loved. A future he mapped out. The doors he had been running toward since he was very young. Slammed shut, one after another, after another, after another. And pain in his story, long before any of that. Those are places that I can't open up for him because it's his story and not mine to tell. But you know what that man says about all of it. He says, and I've heard him say it more than once, he tells our son all the time, losing my scholarship was the best thing that ever happened to me because it led me to you. If I'd gone off and done everything I had planned, I would have never met you. And then he lands Miss Realism. God has jokes, y'all. But here's what I've learned watching him up close for all these years. What my husband carries is not optimism, because optimism is a forecast. Things will probably work out. What he has is something that I call Godfidence. It's a settled confidence that no matter what today looks like, God is working Things will move toward good, not because life or this world that we're in is kind, but because God is faithful. Optimism couldn't have carried all of that. He couldn't have carried the childhood, the high school years, the college football, the surgeries, the depression. Forecasts die in year 2. Whatever survives all 7, that's a different substance entirely. So there we are, an ultra realist and an optimist in one marriage. We balance each other, and sometimes it's not easy to balance each other. We've got his lift and we've got my ballast. But the thing that holds us both, it's not his temperament or mine. It's the anchor that we're both holding on to together. And that's the reframe that I'm going to give you today. So here's the mistake that most people, almost everybody makes. We put our hope on the personality spectrum. Pessimist on one end, realist in the middle, optimist on the other end, and we assume hope, lives somewhere on the sunny side. So realists excuse themselves in front of it, and the optimists assume they already have it. But both are wrong, because hope isn't even on that line. That line is horizontal. It's a temperament. It's a wiring. It's a personality you showed up with. But hope is vertical. It's not disposition. Like I've said several times, it's an anchor. It doesn't ask, what's your natural outlook? It asks, what are you attached to? Listen to how the Bible defines it. In Hebrews 11, verse 1, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we don't see. Confidence, assurance, substance. Biblical hope isn't a mood or a guess. It is a certainty about a person that changes how you act before you see the outcome. And for my fellow realists, the next verse is ours, Romans 8. Hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. That's that perseverance part. Do you hear what Paul just said? Hope, by definition, operates when things do not look good. If everything looked fine, it wouldn't be hope. Remember, the Lord said, how can people find me when things are peaceful? Which means hope agrees with the realist assessment. Yes, it's dark. Yes, it's unseen. Yes, the odds look bad. And hope still lives. We have hope anyway. Optimism denies the dark. Hope outstares it. You don't have to stop being a realist to hope. Just ask me. You don't have to stop letting your accurate assessment have the last word. And where does that kind of hope come from, if not personality? 1 Peter 1:3 says, in his great mercy, he has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Born, not wired. Hope isn't distributed by temperament. It's given by new birth in Jesus, anchored to this historical event that already happened. He died on the cross for your sins. The resurrection means the worst thing was already survived, and that was Jesus on the cross for you and for me and for all mankind. Your hope can be attached to that, not to next week's forecast. That's what my husband is doing when he calls a lost scholarship, closed doors, lost jobs, the best thing that ever happened to him. It's not positive thinking. That's Genesis 50:20. Joseph standing in front of his brothers who sold him. You intended to harm me? They wanted to kill him, but they decided not to kill him. They decided to sell him for money. But God intended it for good. Godfidence always reinterprets the slammed door in the light of a faithful God. It doesn't pretend that the slammed door, the hard things, didn't happen. So here's the realist's advantage and the optimist's assignment. Realists, when you finally hope, your hope is load-bearing because you counted the full cost first and then you hoped anyway. Nobody can tell you that you're in denial because you saw everything and you still put your anchor down. An optimist, your quickness to hope is a gift, but if it's anchored to outcomes instead of to God, it will keep buckling. So you have to anchor to God. So turn your optimism into Godfidence and it becomes unbreakable, I promise. So Hopework assignment, right? We got 2 tactics for this week. So I want you to get your pen and your paper and we're going to do the hope audit. So draw these 2 columns, one on the left, everything you're hoping for right now. The healing, the job, the restored relationship, the kid coming home. I want you to be specific and write them all down. And then on the right column, ask yourself one question. Who or what am I hoping in for this to happen? And be really brutally honest. Because for most of us, the right column is full of things like the doctor, the economy, the real estate market, the Bitcoin. I mean, it's all over the map over there. My own hustle, them finally changing. But here's the diagnosis. If everything you're hoping for is anchored to something that can fail you, your hope will fail exactly as often as those things do. The audit isn't about wanting less. It's about re-anchoring, moving your hopes off the forecast and onto the Father. Hoping for is human. Hoping in is where hope either lives or dies. So second, and this one's for my realists. I love you guys. It's the even if rewrite. You know, the 3 Hebrew boys that were in front of a furnace. I want you to hear their hope. This is in Daniel. You can go look it up and read the story. Our God is able to deliver us, but even if he does not, we will not bow. That's realist hope in one sentence. It doesn't claim the outcome. It claims God. So take your most honest, most realistic sentence about your situation right now today. The one that starts with, the truth is, and then finish it with even if. The truth is the diagnosis is serious, and even if it doesn't go away, I'm praying God is still with me and he's still good and he will deliver me from this. You don't have to fake a forecast. State your facts like the realist you are and then refuse to bow. That's not optimism. That is defiance with an anchor. So let's move into a declaration. I'm not required to be an optimist. I am anchored to hope. Hope is not a forecast to me. It is the Godfidence in what I hope for. It is assurance of what I don't yet see. What was meant for harm, God intends for good, even when the doors are slammed. My God is able to deliver me. And if he doesn't do it the way I thought, I still won't bow. Not bow to hopelessness. I have Godfidence. No matter what today looks like, my God is working and he is faithful, and I am not waiting to feel positive. I am choosing to hope and I am moving forward. So again, your hope work is do the hope audit. Pick one item, say it out loud. I'm still hoping for this, but I'm hoping in God for it. That's how we reframe that thought. And tell somebody your even if sentence. Say it in the group chat. Watch what honesty does. And if this episode put some courage into you today, send it to one person. Maybe the realist in your life who thinks hope isn't for them. So remember, contagion, right? Person to person. That's how pandemic of hope spreads. I want to leave you with this. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. So go be contagious. I'll see you next time.